Okay, so for my game of choice, I chose to go with Dig Dug for this Let's Play assignment. Well, to be honest with you, it is a little bit biased because, yeah, I've watched Stranger Things, and of course, when I saw Dig Dug, I said, hey, why not? Because I've never got around to actually trying it out. So upon first glance of it, it's a very interesting design concept. I mean, so far I've been able to figure out that if you press Z, you release it. Well, if you don't die, you release this sort of device that blows up the enemy characters until they basically implode. As you can see. I mean, one of the ways that this is not so different from games nowadays is that it basically still has the same interaction where the player has to defeat enemies in order to progress to the next level. Same thing goes for like games like Cyberpunk 2077 or The Witcher. You have to obviously defeat certain enemies in order to either finish the level or say like modern games, the mission, so-called mission. It still has those same basic elements. That's why to be honest with you, Dig Dug does not feel all that different from modern games. I mean, of course, back then you had to use coins and whatnot. And if you die enough times, you obviously get a game over screen. The character itself is unique. It's obviously due to the technical limitations back then. It's not as complex as like the games that I play nowadays, that are completely or mostly as realistic as possible. It's so basic in design. It just has such a the character here in this game just has such a basic color scheme. He's just white, blue skin, and some kind of an oxygen tank, I'm guessing. And obviously that oxygen tank has a thing that shoots out every single time you press the Z button and it inflates the enemy, so that's pretty cool if you ask me. It's different from games nowadays. I've never actually played any game like this before. So what else? The scoring system. The scoring system for this game, Dig Dug, is based on increments of 200 and 400. 200 points is when you defeat these red and yellow looking enemies, but if you defeat these green dragon-like dinosaur enemies, you'll get plus 400 points. So you get more points for defeating the green guys, the green enemies. That is something that I noticed. So obviously, if you want to get a high score in this game, the goal is to obviously eliminate all the enemies, but the ones with the highest points are the green guys. With the points, those that give you like the green guys give you like plus 400 points, and then the red guys with the goggles, they give you just 200 points for each one you blow up with your oxygen tank thing. I mean, the graphics, of course, are very rudimentary. I mean, that's not to say it's not my style. I actually kind of like to play games like this. It's actually a breath of fresh air from the overwhelming market nowadays in the video game industry, where it's just constantly more and more games that are just aiming so much at the realistic looking kind of feel of games. Most games nowadays are just all about this is going to be super realistic, so it's definitely a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air to play a game like Dig Dug, which I enjoy very much. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is that each of the rounds I've gotten up to as much as round 4, each of the rounds feature like a completely different game layout. Like this one's got a different shape right now compared to all the other ones. Some are just squares and some have like more unique shapes. So it's a very interesting game. So, yep, this is the end of my playthrough.